Hello again everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Comic Kid here again, and today we will be discussing the best places to start reading Flash. I've been a long time Flash fan, and it's actually surprised me that I hadn't done a video on the character before, but with the series being so popular and the movie coming out soon, I know a lot of people are trying to find some good places to start with him. And now there have been a lot of Flashes over the years, and a lot of different versions of him, and it can be kind of confusing as to exactly where to begin reading. And so hopefully this video will help you guys find some good options and go from there. So to kick things off, we're gonna start with Flashpoint. Now, a lot of people love Flashpoint, and don't get me wrong, I do too, but a lot of people also tend to start with it. And it's an okay starting point for the character. It takes place shortly after he comes back from the dead, at least Barry Allen, and it's the main thing that reboots the DC universe for the New 52. And don't get me wrong, it is definitely one of the best Flash stories out there, and I highly recommend you read it if you are a fan of the Flash, but it's also not my favorite place to start with the character. You can, but there are better options in terms of starting. I would consider it an absolute essential if you are a fan of The Flash, but everything else that I'm about to show you is probably going to be a better place to start. So following Flashpoint, we have The Flash, New 52 Volume 1. This was released after Flashpoint, but is the first one as far as kind of like the reboot goes for the New 52. This one is centered on the Barry Allen version of the character that's the most popular, and it is an actual jumping on point for the character. You don't need to know anything that happened before this. Again, it'll help to be familiar with the character and Flashpoint and whatnot, but it's not that necessary. Everything going forward in this series is completely new. Strictly speaking, nothing that happened in the past matters from this point on. And in my opinion, the New 52 series had quite a few ups and downs. I did think it started pretty strong for the first 2 or 3 arcs, and then after that it kind of dipped, and then, it would pick back up here and there. So it's not really the best run, but it is a good place to start with the character. It'll introduce you to a wide array of his characters, and it really simplifies Flash for a new generation, which is what the entire purpose of the New 52 was. And I know a lot of classic Flash fans were upset that some history was undone there, but it's still going to be a great place for people who are looking to read the character to kind of jump on board. Alrighty, next up is going to be The Flash Rebirth. This is, again, another reboot. This one actually follows the New 52 run, and it does build off of it to an extent. Again, it's a fresh start. You don't really need to know what happened beforehand, but it will help to know who, the new Wally West is, where Barry stands with Iris, and so on and so forth. This first arc here introduces Godspeed, the character, who's been pretty popular ever since making his debut both in the comics and then eventually transitioned to the show. Again, it's another great place to start. This one is more recent. If you didn't like the New 52 version, a lot of classic Flash fans were a lot more receptive to this version. Personally, I don't know which I prefer. I think they both have their own individual strengths and weaknesses, but no matter what, this will still be a great jumping on point for anyone looking to get into the character. Now, my number one recommendation for Flash is going to be The Flash Rebirth by Jeff Johns. This one focuses on how Barry Allen returns from the dead after being gone for years and years, and it really kind of establishes his place within the DC universe once again. But it's also great at walking you through a lot of the complicated nature of Flash's history. It goes through characters like Jay Garrick, Wally West, Bart Allen. It shows you the entire Flash family, gives you a brief overview of everything that happened, all the major points that you're gonna need to know, but it also sets a lot up for the character going forward. The TV show pulled so much from this series, especially in the early days, and so if you've seen the show, you're probably familiar with a lot of the elements in this, but there's still going to be some gaps in history that are obviously left out. It's mostly just like concepts for the character overall that the show builds from this, rather than history. But again, it is still a great read overall. There are some things that are still going to be confusing, or you might want to know a few more details on, just because there's a lot to cover in Flash's history overall. But this will really get you started and just kind of tell you everything you need to know so that you can jump into another series later down the line or something like that. And that's gonna be it for today, guys. I know it's a little bit of a shorter video, but those are definitely some of the best places to start reading Flash, in my opinion. You can jump into a lot of older stuff. They just started reprinting like the Mark Waid run and the Jeff Johns run a year or so ago, and so you can find older runs of the character, but again, well, however good those stories may be, they may not be the best place to start reading Flash. But that should definitely be enough to at least get you guys familiar with the character. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to click like and subscribe, and I will see you again real soon.